All right, everybody, welcome into Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by Superbook Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn, at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and I am joined by a very special guest. He's my guy, the newest co-host of the Locked On Nuggets podcast. It's SwipaCam. What's good, my guy?
This is vibey. I like this.
I made this.
Wait, you made this beat?
Yeah. Just like some good background stuff. Yeah. You already know.
Right.
I'm
Nice.
multifaceted, multi-talented.
Nice riding music. You know what I mean? You writing that love letter to that lady. Matter of fact, let me clear out for me, Ryan. You know, I just wanted to tell you, I thought about you the other day. I was riding my whip, thought about giving you these flowers, but I said, nah, I'm gonna write you a letter. Yeah, you are the apple of my eye, the storm of my eye, the destination wedding, the destination, the journey. It all comes ahead here with you, baby. I love you. I could do some bars to this. This would be cold, bro. Go ahead and send this to me.
I come up with some bangers every now and then.
Hey, your audience, man, y'all need to ask for some tune-ups, man. This is cool. Think about it. You got that special person in your life. It could be like the background music and all that stuff. I love it.
Well, on this episode of Pickaxe and Roll, we're gonna do some crazy things. We're gonna rank a top 100 here, and just to be clear, everybody,
we're ranking your top 100.
This is my top 100. I know that
Don't scream at me.
He wants that very clearly plastered everywhere that this is mine and not his. We'll be reacting to mine, and I wanted to put this together. I had this in the pipeline, and I was while Swipa was in town a couple weeks ago, we were talking, and I shared some of my top 100, and he was giving me some great reaction on what I was putting out there. And we're wondering, why don't we just put this on the podcast? Why don't we just put this out for everybody, see what everybody says, and just get some good, fun, honest content reaction. And I think it's going to be fun. So everybody, this is going to be my top 100. Swipa is going to react. We'll do some biggest misses, some rises and fallers, what Swipa disagrees with the most. It's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, Swipa, you ready to go?
I'm locked and loaded, ready to rock.
Let's go. Okay, we're changing the format here. It's going to be good. All right. So would you rather start from the back or the top or the bottom, basically?
That's interesting. See, it's a top. Start from the back. I think we'll start from the back and then work our way up.
All right. That is fine with me. And there are going to be some questions, obviously. So I didn't include I'll include the 10 players that just missed the cut for me before we get into this. Number 110 was Walker Kessler. 109, D'Angelo Russell. Number 108, Buddy Hield. 107, Dorian Finney-Smith. 106, Keldon Johnson. 105, DeAndre Hunter. 104, Alperun Sengun. 103, Kevon Looney. 102.
You don't have Sengun in your top 100. Okay.
I do not, and that was the one where I'm looking at it now.
Rockets fans are definitely going to hear this. And
yeah, well, I ranked Jalen Green in a respectable place, so they'll
put Jalen Green ahead of Sengun.
Yeah, I did.
He's not even the best player in this. How can the best player on his roster not be on this list, but the second best player is on this list?
Do you know how much time the Rockets actually spent trying to figure out whether they're going to start Brook Lopez over Alperun Sengun this year?
But do you know why? And you know how idiotic that would have been to take him off the court as opposed to Jalen Green?
I agree. I think that Sengun's good. I think that there are some things that he needs to figure out, especially defensively. But the analytics say that Sengun should be on this list. I don't have
ahead of Jalen Green, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's true. So this is me trying to this is
already starting off. He's a head between guy, y'all.
I know. I walk that line between the analytics and not. But so 104 was Sengun, 103 Kevon Looney, 102 Clint Capella, and 101 Gary Trent Jr. some of this was me coming down
You had
to
Gary Trent Jr. ahead of Sengun, and okay, I got you.
a lot of it is just like, how are these guys going to fare in a playoff series? What are these guys actually going to look like? Can what they do in the regular season really translate to the playoffs when somebody is game planning against them?
Yeah,
and so some of these guys, like Kevon Looney, he just shut down Domantas Sabonis this last year, and he deserves to be at least considered for this, even though the stats would say Sengun should be ahead of him. So that was a tough call. Neither of them ended up making it because there's just a lot of talent in the league, man. So that was, I think, my biggest takeaway from doing this list. So we will have plenty to talk about for sure. But for now, let's hop into the top 100, starting with 100 itself. Boom. Tier 5. I broke this down into 5 tiers. You have tier 1 is the elite tier. Tier 2 is all NBA. Tier 3 is all-star. Tier 4 are your necessary players for winning a title. And tier 5 are quality players, but I don't consider them necessary for winning a title. You could exchange them out. You could get a certain number of tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 guys. But here is the back end of the top 100. Markelle Fultz at 100, Terry Rozier at 99, Keegan Murray at 98, PJ Washington at 97, John Collins 96, Devin Vassell 95, Kevin Huerter 94, Bruce Brown 93, Gabe Vincent 92, and Robert Williams at 91. All right. This is a lot of dramatics here as Swipa takes a look at the back end of my list, the 91 to 100 section. What are the first couple of things that stand out here?
Do I see Gabe Vincent ahead of Bruce Brown?
You do.
That's very interesting, given that we literally saw them play in an NBA Finals. Wow, okay. Gabe Vincent also making $11 million on the open market. Bruce Brown making $22 million. I wonder why. Oh, two-way value, defense, rim pressure. Wow, that's amazing. Twice as much on the open market, but behind him. All right,
that is an interesting one. In retrospect, those guys probably should have been swapped.
In retrospect,
that's.
So look, hold on. I know you open up the list. It's my turn now. It's my turn.
All right. Here you go, Cook.
Can you explain just even the basketball logic? Because I'm stuck on the Sengun thing. How would you have John Collins and PJ Washington and Terry Rozier over Alperun Sengun when John Collins' best asset is offense? PJ Washington best asset is his two-way portability, quote unquote, and then even offensive value. Terry Rozier offensive value, and all three of those players are worse offensive players than Alperun Sengun.
I think that especially like these veterans, this is where the NBA world very much gets caught up with, oh man, young guy sexy, young guy cool, young guy awesome, and they will lose the thread on what these veterans have been for a long time. John Collins is a great example for this because he has been in the conference finals in the Eastern Conference. He has been part of a team. Okay. It's a lesser conference for sure, but like they did go up.
They beat the fraudulent 76ers.
Yeah, of course. But like they beat them and they had he battled against Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Eastern Conference Finals. And like they've had a lot of battles and they've shown a lot of stuff. And I think that these guys are, especially the veterans, are underrated nationally.
Did you see that John Collins, just even ranking him towards versus Sengun, has a worse block plus minus in advanced impact numbers across the board than Alperun Sengun?
Oh, I have no doubt that he does. Like, I think that this past year especially was really
They've been trying to trade him for 4 seasons in a row.
And I think that Atlanta is going to be worse because of it. I honestly do. I think that Atlanta is...
We don't think Sadiq Bey can replicate value?
No, I don't. I think that there is a level of toughness and a level of physicality that you get with a guy like John Collins. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you watched the Hawks?
Yeah, I'm going to watch them without John Collins, and I'm going to watch them like as they sort of transition.
I don't think toughness is the word I would use to describe the dude in the city I live in.
John Collins, like this dude shot with a broken hand basically for the entire season. And like, have you seen his fingers? Like, you've seen the pictures of what his fingers look like? Like, it is disgusting. And That's the point that I'm trying to make.
I've seen Ryan's fingers. They have a lot of stuff right here on it from riding so much. So we should rank him higher among NBA riders. A lot of calluses on those fingers.
It's not no, dude. Like what you're mentioning toughness, and like this is a dude that I think his value is going to be rehabbed so highly in Utah, and a team is going to look at it.
He's
and
not
be
even
like,
starting in Utah, sir.
I don't know. He might
Over who? Over Lauri Markkanen?
No, I think that they'll start Lauri at the 3, John Collins at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5. Like that's what they did this last year for a lot of the time.
Didn't Lauri play the 4 last year?
He played the 3. Like I think he started at the 3 a lot. He started at the 4 a lot too, but like they have the line of versatility. Lauri has.
Is he going to be better than Keontae George and
Keontae George?
Keontae George? You don't
respect
Keontae George?
Yes, I know.
First off, respect the Baylor Bear, sir.
I'll respect him when he like proves anything at the NBA level. No, so like okay. John Collins is one guy. I can understand having Alperun Sengun higher. I can understand that. That is pretty reasonable. But I think a lot of these guys.
Taylor Hendricks is going to start either at some point. That's interesting.
No, of course he's not going to start. I bet you
they're going to be solid.
They're going to start fewer than 5 games with Taylor Hendricks.
So wait, Ochai. So Ochai's off the bench. Hendricks off the bench. George off the bench.
I think they're going.
Ochai starting?
Jordan Clarkson, Ochai Agbaji, Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, Walker Kessler.
Yeah, you're talking to be there. I think I have them. Well, I haven't put my list out yet, but I think I have them around 12 in the West, and they are going to be an absolute dog, like a bloodshed to beat on a nightly basis.
I have them 12 too. They are a perfect 12 seed. They are more competent than the teams below them.
Well, is Chris Dunn still there too? Because
Chris Dunn is still there.
You don't think he's going to start?
He could, but like a lot of the numbers that he put up this last year were. We'll just say they were in the garbage season portion.
Respect future Denver Nugget backup point guard Chris Dunn.
Hey, look, man. Like if it happens, then I'll root for it for sure.
All right. Well, again, I don't hate this list. I think Robert Williams. I'm curious to see how you have everybody ranked up top because of its defensive value. I think having Bruce Brown in the 90s is probably a little lower than I would do given what we saw him do in a playoff setting. I think Keegan Murray here as well. Like I said, I need to see what you have in the 80s and 70s because that also feels a little low.
Fair. There's a lot of talent in the NBA. All right, let's go to 81 to 90. 90, Ivica Zubac. 89, Nikola Vucevic. 88, Bojan Bogdanovic. 87, Harrison Barnes. 86, Anthony Simons. 85, Cade Cunningham. 84, KCP. 83, Mitchell Robinson. 82, Al Horford. 81, Spencer Dinwiddie. Your initial, okay, you're laughing here. This is great. I love this. Wait
a minute. Hold on. Go back to 90, please.
Okay. Give me just a sec. There you go.
So you're telling me that I don't even know if Bruce Brown is objectively worse than KCP. So I have a hard time having that big of a gap between them.
I think he is. I think there is a reason that KCP started the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a bigger. Anyway, but I think having Keegan Murray, Bruce Brown, Robert Williams, and go back to your list with 80s. Yeah, I think you went entirely too high on Al Horford this last season, especially in the playoff setting. I think Harrison Barnes is entirely too high given what he was in a playoff setting. I think Ivica Zubac is a really good player. 90, whatever. I think Cade Cunningham will be higher because he'll be healthier this season. I think Anthony Simons is probably also a bit better than Harrison Barnes and Mitchell Robinson and Al Horford and Spencer Dinwiddie this past season as well. So I think he's a little bit too low for me as well. But hey, I don't know where Bojan came in all this stuff, but sure, yeah, offensive numbers look great. Yeah. Net rating doesn't look great.
There's a lot. Like this is why doing this list is important because I think there's a lot of factors that take into why the guys that in the 90 to 100 range, like a John Collins or a Bruce Brown, for example, like why does Bruce Brown rank lower than a lot of these other guys? Well, Bruce Brown doesn't start for one thing, and we'll see what happens. Now. We'll see what happens when he looks like a starter for the entire
year.
And
Tyrese Halliburton.
It's going to be fun. And also, by the way, Buddy Hield trade request.
Mm-hmm.
We will see what happens with that. But
Future Clipper.
That is so funny that you say that, because the first thing that came to mind was Buddy Hield for Marcus Morris.
Exactly. Get rid of that Marcus Morris contract easily.
Yeah, that seems very logical to me. But so there's like Cade Cunningham is such a hard player to rank because we didn't see him for much of this last year, and like I think that he will make this ranking look really dumb. But I also can't justify putting him much higher than this because we just don't know what he's going to look like. And you want to mention analytics. The analytics were not kind to Cade Cunningham during his rookie season. So of
course not.
It's going like we're going to see what happens with them. But Anthony Simons, horrible defensive player. And I think that there are still things that he has to figure out on the defensive end in order to justify being much higher than this.
But Harrison Barnes is a negative offensive player in a playoff setting, and he wasn't a positive defender either.
Yeah, he's a tough one. It's also why I ranked him 87. Like I think that he has shown to be one of those very helpful connective pieces. But like I don't think that he is a necessary piece anymore, which is why he's in this tier as opposed to a higher tier than this. But I think you could say that about all these guys. Like Al Horford, for example, he was one that you argued with.
Harrison Barnes was quite literally a net neutral offensive and defensive player in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't do anything.
They did a lot with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Malik Monk had I nearly ranked Malik Monk on this list. But like you also can't overreact in some of those situations.
Well, I see Jalen Green is not yet on this list, so I'm extremely confused if you have all these players behind Jalen Green, but we'll find out.
Jalen Green's coming up relatively soon.
I think Spencer Dinwiddie also, it's another dude that I'm just like, regular season, sure, but he just hasn't had no playoff value for real.
He is a really, really helpful regular season player.
Is he a worse defender than Anthony Simons?
Yeah. No. He's a better defender just by virtue of his size. Like he actually can get through some screens and like provide some size against some of these matchups. Simons is so small, man. Like he is so small.
Maybe I just had PTSD from him lighting the Nuggets up for 8 threes. But he averaged like 22, 23 last year.
It was like 22. Okay. And he's efficient. Like I don't want to like take away from that. Like he's a good player, and maybe I do have him a little bit underrated, but I think it's at least justifiable to have him a little bit lower.
Let's get to this 70. I need to see this.
Right. 71 to 80. 80 is RJ Barrett. This is a tough one. That was a tough one. I didn't know where to put him.
I wouldn't have put him any higher than this.
Yeah. 79, Josh Giddey. 78, Trey Murphy. He is an underrated player who I think is like fantastic. 77, Kyle Kuzma. 76, Tobias Harris. 75, Chris Paul. 74, Cam Johnson, who talking to Matt Moore has him ranked in the 30s or 40s, and I have him ranked 74. Jalen Green, 73, or Jalen Williams, 73. Nick Claxton,
where is Jalen Green?
He's coming up very
He's not
soon.
One of the 65 best players in the NBA, sir.
Okay, good that he is not ranked 65. He is ranked just lower than that. Jalen Williams, 73. Nick Claxton,
Jalen Williams,
72.
OKC Jalen Williams, like the small forward, power forward?
Yeah, the rookie. They're both rookies. This is J Dub. This is wing Jalen Williams. Nick Claxton, 72. Wendell Carter, 71.
Is Josh Giddey a worse basketball player than Jalen Green?
This was a tough one. Like I don't know. I think that we're going to find out a lot about Jalen Green this year, just in a more functional environment. Hopefully he's not playing next to Kevin Porter Jr. ever again. Okay. Playing next to Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks and some more veteran talents that can actually figure things out. We'll talk about him in the next tier.
Oh my God, bro! Pull up Jalen Green's numbers when you get an opportunity, sir.
I know.
They're pretty sizably worse than Josh Giddey, my brother.
Yeah, no, I believe. Like you're talking about all around impact. Like the numbers say that Josh Giddey is fantastic and that he should be higher than this.
I think you're entirely too low on Chris Paul too. I don't really know where that came from. Yeah, I don't get this Chris Paul slide that people are having in their brain. Like I understand.
You just mentioned playoffs. You mentioned playoffs for every single guy, and he just never finishes them.
What do you mean he never finishes it? But even his performance, his value in the playoffs, he was a positive offensive player in the playoffs. He was a positive defensive player in the playoffs, but he also played with Devin Booker and Josh Okogie. And so even if you want to do like playoffs and stuff, he was just in the advanced analytics, he was all a positive. His win share was minuscule, but he also was hurt, you know what I mean, had the hamstring injury and all that kind of stuff. And then in the playoffs, in the regular season this last year, Chris Paul averaged 14 and 9 on positive efficiency. Like that's just tough to think that he like is somehow dropped from an MVP candidate 2 years ago to, you know, being a certified like quality level role player. Like I think he's a better basketball player, and I love Wendell Carter Jr. I think Wendell could be higher on this list. Honestly, I would even say this objectively, Wendell Carter Jr. is a much better basketball player than Jalen Green, and I think for playoff basketball, you would rather have Wendell Carter Jr. Honestly, I'm not going to hold you. I think Wendell Carter Jr. is a better playoff option than Deandre Ayton is because of his portability.
They are very close. So
he's a better shooter.
Yeah, I get it.
He's a better defender.
We just have not seen Wendell Carter in that environment before. Like we've seen him in the regular season. We don't know. Like you can't just.
But you will. You know why?
Say
you know why
the Orlando Magic are jumping.
No, because some team is going to smarten up, bro, and it's going to be something stupid. It's going to be either the Suns or the Warriors or goodness gracious, I hope not the LA Lakers. And they're going to be like, hey, we have a couple first-round picks here. We also have some young assets. Give us Wendell Carter Jr. And now he's playing next to Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant or Draymond. And all of a sudden, they're just an absolute terror.
Oh, yeah. I think he's great. I have him 71 for a reason. Like, I mean, to be clear, it is really hard to be high on this list, especially if you're like the third member of the Orlando Magic. but he is, and he's really, really talented.
Yeah, I think Wendell Carter needs to be higher. I think Nick Claxton needs to be higher. I don't think there's a basketball argument for Wendell Carter, Nick Claxton, or Chris Paul, or Josh Giddey for that matter, being a worse basketball player than Jalen Green.
All right, fair enough. All right, tell you what, let's take one break. When we come back, we are going to chat about the rest of this list, and you're going to give me all of your gracious takes, which I'm sure should be very, very good. But first, everybody, this podcast, as you know, it's brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. Really appreciate Superbook and all that they've done for us. They're the local book, and like, there's no reason to go with the big boys this football season. You can try our local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. They are the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager in the same day and use promo code MileHigh. Just make sure to sign up, bet with the best, and use that promo code MileHigh this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be right back on Pickaxe and Roll. All right, we're back. Pickaxe and Roll. Ryan Blackburn here, joined by my guy SwipaCam. We've got some content in the pipeline that we've been teasing over these last couple weeks. This one is coming out first. Just it made more sense to come out first, but we are very excited about the content that is coming up on the Mile High Sports YouTube. There is plenty to chat
yourself.
about.
I don't know this guy.
Thanks, man. Love that endorsement. All right. Well, we just got done with ranking 71 to 80 on my list. Again, this is my list. This is Ryan's top 100, not Swipa's top 100. He is giving his critiques ad nauseum on this list, and I appreciate him for it.
By the way, I can ask you, did Jordan Poole fall? Is he on the list, or did he fall out of your top 100 for you?
He is not in the top 100.
Okay, you think his last year just did it for you? You just didn't think it was.
Yeah, I've got to see where.
His playoffs were bad too. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah,
but
he was overrated before, and I don't want to. I'll be honest. I think he just fell through the cracks on my initial run through. So he might have been at the back end of my top 100, but I need to see it to believe it with him. Like he's going to average about 28 points per game for the Wizards this year, and like
Jordan
I'm just
Poole
not sure it's going to matter.
Jordan Poole without Steph last year. If I can get this stupid ad out of the way, he was. Let me see, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole last year without Steph Curry, 26.1, 5 assists, 2.8 rebounds, and he shot 42, 31, 89, was a plus 11. So, it's not incredible, but it was a good sample size because Steph Curry missed a lot of games last year. Yeah. So I think he's actually going to look like he's probably going to ball out with the Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he actually, like, whether it actually helps him at all. Like, it just strikes me as the perfect guy to have on a 25-win team because he's going to be fun and they're going to lose and he's going to be entertaining. But it is what it is. Like, I mean, we'll see whether he can, because I just don't know whether he contributes to winning or not. Like, I think there's a reason why the Warriors gave up on him. So,
well, no, that wasn't why they gave up on him. We all know that. That's not the agenda. We know what it was. It was one person.
Yeah, I'm sure that the other guys were probably like, this is fine. We're okay without this. All right, let's move up 61 to 70 here. This is where we.
I got your back, Jordan Poole. I won't let him do that to you.
70 Miles Turner, 69 Tyler Hero, 68 Klay Thompson, 67 Jalen Green, and 66 Scotty Barnes. Ooh. This is where we delineate between tiers here for me. Your initial thoughts on those five?
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to make sure I have my data correct because I don't like just talking. I want to make sure I got what I need. Let me make sure I'm not tripping. Yeah, bro. I think Jalen Green and is not in them talks, my brother. Like there's no way. Like you're not putting him with. I mean, I don't even think Tyler Hero is necessarily in these talks either. I think Scotty Barnes, I think potential wide. But he was so bad offensively last year. But again, I think the spacing around him was trash. I think he could be better this year.
He's also a good defender for the most part. Like that's the difference between him and some of these other guys. Like especially those three shooting guards. Like Scotty Barnes is going to defend and he's going to pass. Like he's better at that than any of those guys next to him. So
I'm saying, but I agree. I'm just saying that like Jalen Green's like a negative offensive player because of his efficiency was in the dog water last year. He was a shot chucker, and he also doesn't play defense.
I actually disagree with that. I think that Jalen Green plays defense. I do. I don't think that the Houston Rockets play defense, and I think that really affects him. I think that this is one of those situations like a Devin Booker situation where he's going to look a lot better when they have some grown-ups around him, and we'll see what that actually okay.
No, I'm serious. I think Dylan's a good player.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green and guys like that they didn't have last year. Like the veteran on their team was Eric Gordon for some of the year last year. Like
Klay without Steph last year was also dirty because the 20-game sample size, 26.4, 4.7, 2.9 assists, and Klay shot 40. He shot 45, 43, 90 without Steph and was a plus 57. I mean, he was. I know people make fun of Klay, but Klay.
Yeah. There were some great numbers for him in the regular season. The playoffs were a bad look for Klay. I don't think that he would have been at the back end of tier 4 had he just maintained his playoff performance for me. But it was really bad. It was really, really bad in the playoffs. And he was probably the reason why they lost that series, for being honest.
But not just him. I wouldn't blame just him. Everybody outside of Steph couldn't make a shot. Now this is tough. So CJ McCollum, good offensive value. Basically, I no disrespect, but basically Jamal Murray regular season offensive player.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Jamal Murray, obviously. I think that, but that's just because Jamal's responsibility. We'll talk to him at some point because he's probably going to be like 8 or 9 on your list. So I think Jaden McDaniels is an interesting one for me. I love Jaden McDaniels. He's probably in the right tier. I think DeAndre Ayton is probably in the wrong tier. I think Franz is in the right tier. I think Marcus Smart arguably could be higher. I probably would. This is where I would have swapped out DeAndre Ayton and Wendell Carter Jr. I think Wendell Carter is of the same ilk as like a Franz, as I think Smart should be higher. So as a Franz, as a Jaden McDaniels, as a Scotty Barnes, I think just alone his defensive value, I would put him there.
So I think that Ayton is underrated, and I think that the contract makes him underrated because like everybody wants him to be the superstar type or all-star type, and he's not going to be that. But like I think this is the right tier for him. I think if he was on a different team, it would probably, like, hypothetically, you swap him with Miles Turner, and Ayton probably averages 20 and 10 still, and they probably have a great offense still in Indiana because pairing him with Tyrese Halliburton would be freaking awesome.
Well, he averaged 18 and 10 last year. He was a neutral defender, a slightly positive offensive player last year, and in the playoffs he was a bad negative offensive and defensive player. But that's because obviously. But guess what? Never mind. I'm going to say that because the whole Suns team, or Kevin Durant, Devin Booker included, in the second round. In terms of defensive. And then but I think the issue is though, bro, 18 and 10 last year, decent efficiency, but the reason why I have Wendell Carter Jr. at least in the same tier is that last season Wendell Carter Jr. was 18 and 9, but he also averaged 2 assists a game, 74% from the free throw line, 59% effective field goal percentage, 62% from 2, and then he shot 36% from 3 last year.
Did you say 18 and 9?
Oh,
like 15 and 9.
I said 15 and 9.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so there is a little bit of a gap there with the
volume. He doesn't have he doesn't have the same shot volume though.
Yeah, and I also think that there's a reason for that. Like Ayton,
but he's a better defensive player.
I
carry what? Carry what? Push shots from 6 to 10, and he's a finisher. He's a vertical spacer. I'm not saying he's bad. Again, this is not me saying he's bad. I'm just saying relative to the fact that Wendell's a better playmaking big than he is, and he's a better defensive big than he is. Both of them are primary assets in a playoff setting.
I think you're talking me into it that they should be in the same tier. I'm not sure whether that means that.
I don't think Ayton's a bad player. Just to be clear,
I think that they should be around each other probably a little bit more, and whether that means that DeAndre Ayton moves down or Wendell Carter moves up, I think that's fair. Like these guys are very, very close. It's just like it's picking hairs at this point.
See, I didn't bring anything about Vooch because Vooch is not a good player in the playoffs. Not at all.
Yeah, no, that's why he's in the 80s. Now, Matt has him way higher than I do. I do not have him that high.
That dude can't guard a pick and roll. At least Valanciunas. Oh, man. Is Valanciunas on this list?
No.
Is he worse than Vooch?
Yes. So Chicago this last year was like 5th in defense.
And don't even try it. We know why that was. That was because when they got Patrick Beverley, Alex Caruso with Levine, DeRozan, and Vooch, and Patrick Williams, and Derrick Jones Jr. It wasn't Vooch. Vooch wasn't the reason they were doing that. Let's be clear here. Every time Alex Caruso's on the court with another plus defender at the guard position, they're always a top 5 defense. Respect Alex Caruso, sir. Where is Alex Caruso?
He's not on the list. Sorry. So Vooch for what it's worth, Vooch last year was 18, 11, and 3 on 52, 35, 84.
Yeah, he's a really good regular season player, yeah.
Yes, and that's why he's in the 80s.
Well, I'm saying, but do you think so? Wait, I have a question then. Is Alex Caruso a worse player than Bruce?
I think so.
I don't know, bro. He's an outright better point guard. Until the playoffs, because obviously people didn't know that Bruce could do that. We did, but most people didn't know that. He's a decent playmaker. He's a decent shooter. He has good rim pressure. He's a much better defender. And I don't mean much better as like Bruce is bad. I mean, Alex Caruso legitimately like a top. I don't know.
He's a top tier guard for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
He offers some rim protection. He's a great POA defender. Great off ball defender. He might be the best. He might be the best POA guard in the NBA right now.
Yeah, fair, completely fair. Okay, we should move on. We're
no, I don't want to move on. I'm done.
We're gonna try to keep this under an hour. All right, 51 to 60 on the list. We're approaching the top we're approaching the top 50 here. Paolo Banchero at 60. Curious.
Respect Paolo. I'm head of Franz Wagner. Golly.
I had him at 60. Franz at 61. I had this initially, and you were like, "Oh my god!" Like, because we're arguing the value of those two.
Completely different responsibilities.
You're right, and you're absolutely right. And one of them was much more. Never mind. We are not getting. Paolo is ranked 60, and Franz is ranked 61.
This is Shannon Sharp versus Skip Bayless. He's baiting me. All right.
Rick Lopez 59, Austin Reeves 58, Derek White 57, Michael Porter 56.
No, you punked out here. You put all this. You put all the same tier small forwards in the same category, so you didn't have to actually rank
55, them. Andrew Wiggins 54, Jared Allen 53, Jeremy Grant 52, Fred VanVleet 51.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet last season too high. Yeah, too high for Fred VanVleet from last season. But
yeah, we're going to see what happens with him. I think he getting an actual center in there with Jakob Poeltl, that really changed things for him. Like we're going to see what happens when he plays with Sengun. It should be good. Yeah. Like that should be pretty good.
I don't hate this tier. It's not terrible. I think Austin Reeves has definitely moved up people's list. He is just not a good defender. But he's a very good positive offensive role player. Brook Lopez, the defensive value, good shooting big, spacing big, also a vertical spacer when he wants to jump. Jared Allen, is Jared Allen better than Brook Lopez?
I think so. I think the regular season value on the offensive end is really important. And I think that this playoffs really changed people's mind about Jared Allen because he was previously ranked in like the 30s and the 40s for people. I've bumped him down to 53 because you can't get punked by Mitchell Robinson. But like I think there's reason to have him here still because I think he's still going to get better. Like I don't think that he's going to like plateau at this level. I think that he's like 18, 12, and 3 with 2 blocks. So I think is really great value.
Well, I mean, the numbers say he's a better offensive player than Burke, but I guess just only vertical spacing. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah. I disagree with that. You can throw him the ball in the post a little bit. You can throw him the ball on the roll, and he can make some passes. Like he's not a bad passer. Now he's outside the top 50 for a reason, despite the fact that he made an All-Star appearance and Jamal Murray has not, which is definitely frustrating for Ryan. So Jeremy Grant is here.
Michael Porter, OG. Why did you put Michael, OG, Jeremy, and Wiggins in the same tier? You just didn't want to differentiate between them?
No, I think that they're in the same tier. I don't think that. I think that so initially on this list before we talked, I had Michael Porter at 54, Andrew Wiggins at 55, OG at 56. I decided to switch that around because I think what Wiggins and OG have proven on the defensive end is important.
Respect playoff, sir. Positive defender, Michael Porter Jr.
What you are insane because the conversation that we had offline was that there's no way that Michael Porter should be as high as these guys, and it so.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. That is a lie. Complete lie. Complete fabrication. I would never slander Porter.
No,
that makes sense.
Look, he's 56, and a lot of people are going to have him in the 60s or 70s. I have him 56. I think it's a reasonable place for him because I think
Michael Porter Sr., Michael Porter Jr. He lied, by the way. I didn't say any of that.
Dude, I love Mike. I think he's great. I think that he can rise up this list. I
think Derek White,
a lot of upward mobility there.
Yeah, I don't hate this list. We can move on from this list. I don't mind 51 to 60.
Okay.